you getting recognition as far as becoming a well-known photographer in the culture. So now, are people reaching out to you, or are you still like kind of reaching out to artists to kind of book yourself to do photo shoots and different things like that?
I've never reached out to an artist ever. Like, I think the only one time I did that, I was really already established, and that was when I first heard Lil Baby, and I was like, he's next. Like, I already know he's next, and I want to shoot him. That's when I first saw My Dogs video, and I reached out to P, like, this guy, I have to work with this guy. Like, but besides that, I never reached out to artists. But Atlanta is 1 degree of separation from everybody. So, as I mentioned, when I really got my start working with Young Scooter, being around Young Scooter, I'm every day meeting Gucci Man. I met Gucci through Scooter. Then through Gucci, I met Dolph. I met Young Thug. I met like Honorable C Note. Like, I'm meeting everybody in the same sphere of things. So once you get known for one thing, and I was the only one doing it for real, like at that time. So once you become cool enough for Gucci to have you around, you definitely cool enough to come work with me, you know what I mean? Or do this for that. And there's a lot of people at that time that were around that, again, became icons and legends later. Like, Thug used to be around.
How much was you charging?
$0 for the most part.
But when you started charging money, how much was you charging?
When I really started charging money, I went from anywhere from like $150, probably scaled up to $250, started scaling up to $500.
For a shoot? Or
photo shoot, video shoot. It just depends. In Atlanta, it's all about relationships. Mm-hmm. So I was honestly in a weird situation where some situations I couldn't charge because the relationship meant more than the petty amount of cash. So there's certain situations where I'm getting phone calls at the same day. Like when I shot Migos Freak No More video, Coach K called me at 12 noon and said, meet us at Magic at 3 p.m. We need you to shoot the video for Migos Freak No More. There's no room to, all right, let's take the time. Hold on. What's the budget like? It's no time. It's like, can you be here? All right, I'm going to gather up wherever I can and I'm going to meet you there. You know what I mean? At that point, you're shooting the video and it's like, they're not talking to you about no money, for real. And that's like the good and the bad about Atlanta. Atlanta don't really do business the way that other states and cities would do business. But those relationships have changed my life and carried me a long way. And my formula at that time was always the relationship with the artist is more important than the dollar that the artist can give me, because I know our work together and the impact of our work will attract someone with the real money to be able to pay me.
What was the piece or the video that when people reference you, they're like, yo, he did that? Y'all seen that video? Which video was it?
In video terms, it was Young Thug, The Language. It's a B language. It's when him and Metro flipped Drake's Language song. That was a video that, like, okay, he's dope. Then the second video I did that was actually, didn't even think it would be that crazy, was it was like a vlog video I did of Travis Scott and Metro working on a song called Skyfall. And that video was just me capturing the making of the record in the studio. And at that time, even still, Travis is like one of the most hyped artists in the world. So his fans just geek out over any type of content of him. So I did a making of that video, making of that song right before he dropped Days Before Rodeo, and he put it out. That has been a video that people stop me on the street and talk about. And it's weird. It's like, that video, my first Nike job, they referenced that video as why they hired me for the job. And I'm like, that video was just me and my little camera. Like, it wasn't much, but it was those early videos that really like put my name on the map. But it didn't really change for me money wise. It was just like cult fame or like cultural fame or like stuff like that. The money didn't really change, or the real opportunities didn't really come until I started working more with the corporate brands and sponsors and things like that to really like push the work that we're doing.
So how did that transition happen from hip hop to corporate?
That transition, honestly, I rode a wave where Atlanta became the hot spot, from everybody. So everybody wanted a little piece of Atlanta and everybody wanted a piece of Southern music and trap music. So my early jobs that were like for brands like a Puma or Nike, all that, a lot of it came from me being the go-to guy for the artists that they now were featuring in their brands. So a lot of that work was like, if we want to document a part of hip hop culture in this commercial world, let's get somebody truly from the culture to do it. So when I was up until like 2015, 2016, although I was like a local go-to guy for like camera work, even the artists didn't really respect me in a way where they were giving me their photo shoot budgets or they were giving me their album cover looks. They were kind of calling me like the homeboy, like, yo, pull up, take some photos. I'm feeling fresh today, or capture a video today. It wasn't never like I was dealing with managers or labels and hiring me. So after 2015, when my name was buzzing, but my bank account was on zero, I was like, I got to figure out a way to, how do I make money and how do I get bigger opportunities and bigger looks from the artists I'm working with? So that's when I came up with this idea called Day 4 Exhibit. And the Day 4 Exhibit is me basically working with artists and putting them on billboards with my own dollars. So in 2016, I was like, what could I say to these artists that allowed them to take me serious enough to show up, dress fresh, a right outfit, give me creative control, and let me do my thing and show that I can be creative? And I was like, well, if I go to them and say, I'm gonna put you on a billboard, especially at this time, this before Spotify billboards, before Apple billboards, YouTube billboards, I knew that they would geek and go crazy about that. So at that time, I was like, man, if I can do this, then I can, one, put my work on a big scale like these corporate brands are used to seeing their work, to show that I can do something billboard ready. But then also I'm going to get the respect of the artists and make them be like, how the hell did you do that? Like, we never been on a billboard. So I started that exhibit. I put 8 artists on billboards. First artist I put on a billboard was Lil Yachty when he first started out. And he's the first artist that really gave me like creative control to say, do a photo shoot for me. Where do I show up? What kind of colors you want me to wear? What's the concept? And I'm trust you. That photo it's probably one of my most iconic photos to the date. And that photo changed my life. But then when I put him on the billboard, all of the artists I used to work with back in the day came running. Like I remember I ran into Offset and Richard the Kid in the mall, and they were pressing me out like, bro, you know me for so long, bro. Why you ain't never put me on no billboard? And I was like, oh, okay, I got y'all. The leverage changed. The leverage changed now. Y'all asking me for the billboard. All right, bet. Well, show up here, do this and this and this. I'm going to put you on a billboard. And then it started to work like that. And then now it became the go-to for bigger photo shoots, which then attracted Nike, Adidas, Airbnb, Sprite to be like, he's the guy that shoots the artist in this scale.
No, that's a good idea. So, but how did they know that you was the one that was putting on the billboard?
I put my name on the billboard.
You put your name on the billboard?
Yeah. I put my name. I did vlog of me going to the billboard. I took the picture with the artist at the billboard, whoever I put on the billboard. Like,
Documented the process.
I documented the process, and I had strong media connections at that time where now Double XL and then were posting about it, but they were posting about Kirk puts up a billboard, Lil Yachty and XYZ.
So who was the plug on the billboard itself? Right, you didn't own it, but you had to get
Just rent it.
Just rent it.
Oh, I'm saying you could rent it, but then after you do it for a certain amount of times, it's like, all right, well, you might have to change the pricing on how I'm doing this because the impact. Or did it not go that way?
At that time, again, you got to think in Atlanta, you know, y'all got so many billboards in New York. That's a normal thing.
Right.
In Atlanta, a lot of people don't know it's as simple as the phone number that's on the bottom of the billboard. Like,
Anybody
literally,
can get a billboard.
anybody could do it. It was like such a far-fetched idea to the artists. Like, these artists are pressing me about billboards I'm paying $750 for. Like, they like, how do I get one? I'm like, you can just call the number. That's what I did.
I'll show you.
Yeah, we're gonna tell you. Just pull up, do a photo shoot with me. I'm gonna get you on a billboard. And that's how I was flipping it. So they didn't even think to look into it that much. So then when I started doing 7 or 8 of them, it became more of a normal thing in the music industry. I'm not gonna say I started it or brought it back in the music industry. I'm not going to say that. But I feel as though prior to that, Spotify and Apple were not buying billboards. And then it became like a thing because Spotify and Apple use the same formula to this day. They getting the artists to promote Spotify and Apple over a cheap billboard that they put up on Times Square.
So you essentially put yourself in a different stratosphere than any other photographer because you wasn't just looking at it like I'm just taking pictures. You're looking at it now. I'm actually a media person.
Super.
That's putting an artist on a billboard.
Super.
And that not only made more artists want to work with you, but now corporate was like, okay, this guy is a media mogul in
Yeah.
Atlanta that's really controlling culture by, you know, putting these iconic people and photos on billboards. So that was your way of kind of them reaching out to you as opposed to you reaching out to them.
Super. That was the way that everybody came reaching out. I remember when I shot Gotti for the first time, Yo Gotti pulled up on me and he referenced the billboards. I want to get a billboard in Memphis. All right. I'm like, you know, it's like, all right, let's do it.
You like the gatekeeper for billboards.
It's what it seems like it's easy.
You are the plug.
Yeah, I'm like, I got you. We're going to do that. That's easy.
So we drive to Memphis, find it's $300, $200, and we throw it up.
How much was it to rent those billboards?
The cheapest billboard I got was $750
For a month?
A month or until somebody buys it. And at that time, people
like
weren't buying billboards. They wasn't thinking about it. So
They're thinking they got to call you.
yeah, I've had billboards there for 6 months.
That's what Barbara Corkin, we just interviewed her from Shark Tank, and she was like back in the days in New York, like not now, but like years ago, like there was a lot of empty space billboards, stuff like that. She used to just get billboards that nobody wanted, like not in Times Square, but like some random place, and they would just be up until somebody else would take it, and nobody ever took it. And like sometimes it could be like 2 years, like just have a billboard up.
Let it run.
Super. And it was, for me, it was leveraging and building a relationship. I put an imprint on certain artists' careers. Like a lot of the people I put on billboards was their first ever billboard. And I thought about that long term. Like if this guy becomes a superstar and he writes a book or does anything, he's going to have to reference that moment, how he felt when his first time he saw himself on a billboard. I thought like that deep with the imprint of the work that I was doing. That photo shoot's going to mean a lot to him. It's not just going to be a regular photo. That's the photo shoot that put me on this billboard.